What if the far right took power in all of Europe? This week, I invite you to imagine that the far right takes over across Europe. What would happen? Imagine governments rejecting diversity, closing their borders, reshaping justice in their image. Overnight, speeches change. Hatred, exclusion, total control. Human rights regress, individual freedoms are silenced. Discriminatory laws multiply, targeting minorities, migrants, opponents. Democracy becomes a facade. Power is concentrated in the hands of an ultra-conservative elite, ready to do anything to impose its authority. Economically, isolation sets in. Trade with the outside world declines, international companies flee, unemployment explodes. In just a few months, daily life shifts. Patrols in the streets, constant checkpoints, widespread surveillance. Faced with this threat, dissenting voices are silenced. Journalists, intellectuals, artists are censored or arrested. Fear spreads, and society fractures.
The first weapon of power is mass surveillance. Every move, every message is monitored. Social networks are censored. Platforms are tracked. Freedom of speech becomes a luxury for the few. Propaganda is everywhere. Official media repeat a single message: the need for order, the external threat, the superiority of a certain identity. Any opposition is labeled treason or a security threat. Security laws multiply. Curfews, arrests without trial, arbitrary detentions. Hundreds of thousands disappear into prisons or camps. The population is kept in a constant state of fear. Education is also controlled. Only official history is taught. All traces of diversity or criticism are erased. Children grow up inside a formatted system, ready to accept authoritarianism as normal. Minorities are isolated, hunted. Racism, police violence, and discrimination become the norm. Society sinks into division and hate, unable to rebuild on respect and diversity. And on the economic level, it's a catastrophe. The nationalist retreat blows up European agreements. Borders close, treaties are suspended, commercial exchanges fall. Germany loses its clients, Poland its subcontractors, Spain its tourists. Sanctions rain down, diplomatic tensions multiply. Result: foreign investors flee, companies close, production chains collapse. Unemployment skyrockets, 25% in Spain, 30% in Greece, millions of young people without jobs. The middle classes become poorer, precariousness explodes. Everywhere public services collapse, overcrowded hospitals, abandoned schools, broken transport. States no longer have budgets, no more European aid, no more margin. The youth, they believe in nothing anymore. They flee to Canada, Australia, the Nordic countries. Those who stay fall into depression, anger, or the streets. The suicide rate increases, urban violence too. And while the people struggle to survive, a small elite close to power gets richer. Access to public contracts, privileges, massive corruption. The wealth gap reaches new heights. A Europe in ruins, sacrificed on the altar of an extreme ideology. Far-right takes power across all of Europe, and control over people's bodies becomes the first target. Within months, anti-abortion laws skyrocket. Total bans in Spain, Italy, Poland, Hungary. In France, abortion is removed from the constitution. Clinics shut down. Women who can afford it travel abroad. The rest are forced to continue their pregnancies, sometimes at the cost of their lives. Sexuality becomes taboo again. Sex education is removed, replaced with family morals classes, teaching that sex is only within marriage and for having children. Condoms vanish from schools. HIV prevention campaigns are halted and infections rise. Sexual minorities are erased. Same-sex marriages annulled, adoption banned, LGBT associations shut down. Pride marches are replaced by traditional family marches. Homophobic attacks soar, tolerated by the authorities. Women are pushed back into traditional roles: mothers, wives, homemakers. Social benefits depend on the number of children. Morality brigades fine women for skirts deemed too short or provocative behavior. Within 5 years, Europe becomes a museum of patriarchy. Millions of women stripped of the right to decide over their bodies, their lives, their futures. Individual freedom is sacrificed on the altar of social control. In several countries like France or Spain, regional languages are banned to reinforce a pure identity. Ethnic, religious, and cultural minorities are rejected and persecuted. In Germany, Turkish communities face tighter controls. In Italy, Roma people are expelled without relocation. And in Poland, African refugees lose access to healthcare and education. Mass expulsions force hundreds of thousands to leave their homes. In Belgium, families are deported without warning. In the UK, Eastern European immigrants are expelled despite being integrated. Free movement within Europe ends. Fear of the other is fostered by media and schools. Textbooks erase minority histories, like the Arab presence in medieval Spain or Jewish contributions in Poland. Museums remove works related to foreign cultures, such as Ottoman history in Hungary. Living together disappears. Mixed neighborhoods become homogeneous and isolated. In France, social diversity fades, increasing mistrust and tensions between communities. Schools also become segregated. The European Union weakens. Tensions between countries rise and walls are built, especially between Hungary and Serbia. Violence between communities escalates. In Italy, far-right groups attack migrant centers. In France, clashes are frequent. Police often remain passive. This systematic rejection destroys Europe's social fabric, reigniting racism and old hatreds. The divide between peoples severely weakens the continent's cohesion. The situation is already heavy. The European economy is collapsing. The overall GDP is shrinking. Exports are plunging. Germany no longer sells cars like before. France struggles to sell its agricultural products, and foreign markets are closing one after another. Big companies are shutting down factories, investors are fleeing, and the cost of living is skyrocketing. Many everyday products are hard to find or very expensive. In schools, classrooms are empty. Many children from immigrant families have disappeared from the scene, having left with their families. Schools are closing due to lack of students. Others combine multiple grades in the same classroom. Teachers are losing their jobs. Extracurricular activities are disappearing. In everyday life, everything is slower and more complicated. Hospitals are running at a slowdown due to staff shortages. Waiting times for medical care are exploding. Shops offer less variety and choice. The little Indian restaurant on the corner closed. So did the Portuguese bakery. Public transport cuts schedules because of driver shortages. Even the postal service takes twice as long to deliver packages. Far-right governments keep repeating that this is the price to pay to take back our destiny. But food bank lines are growing longer, and anger is rising in the streets. Europe is on its knees under the yoke of the regime. But in the shadow, an anger persists. In basements on clandestine networks in the streets, thousands of voices rise to say, no. Then everything changes. A protest breaks out in one capital, then 2, then 10. The forces of order, exhausted, start to fall back. Soldiers refuse to shoot at the crowd. The flags of the regime are torn down, replaced by those of the people. The revolt spreads like gunpowder. Governments fall one after another. Prisons open, freeing political prisoners. Extremist leaders are publicly judged, their crimes exposed to broad daylight. And for the first time in years, Europe breathes. Squares fill not with slogans of hate, but with debates, projects, decisions taken collectively. Citizens finally become the true actors of their future participatory democracy. Local assemblies, transparent decisions, every voice counts. The old symbols of oppression are destroyed or transformed into memorials to remember what the continent has gone through. Peoples reclaim their cities, their media, their laws. No more dictatorship, no more censorship, freedom lives. And this time it is in the hands of all. It is the victory of an entire generation. Proof that even facing the most brutal oppression, the will of the people can overturn everything. If you too are a rebel of reality, like, comment, share, and subscribe to continue the fight.